Hey guys, Chris from the Ultimate Recycler. Welcome back to the shed. In a recent Ewaste Monday Marathon video, we found this Avanti cassette CD radio from a local charity shop that has some issues. The cassette player doesn't work. I think it's got broken belts or something like that. The CD did work, but it didn't read the disc very well, and it had some nasty static through the speakers, I think from the volume control. So in this video, I thought I'd get straight onto this. We'll see if we can fix it. It probably won't be viable to fix, but we're going to have a go anyway, and then if we get it going, it'll go into the shop. It's also quite dirty, so even in good condition, I think I'd struggle to get $30 for it, but maybe about that. We'll see how long it takes us to fix it, if we can, and then we'll hopefully keep it in circulation and it won't go to e-waste. Okay, pulling the screws out of the back, I managed to get the screwdriver down these holes. They're very deep holes. This screwdriver wouldn't even do it. Even with the antenna bent out of the road, it wouldn't quite reach. This one's actually the same length, but because it's a little narrower on this part, it would go in a little bit further, and I managed to get the screws out of those two, but pretty awkward. And I noticed in the back here, there's some screws here, it says CD. So whether you can actually take the CD component off the top, we'll probably take those out because there's arrows to them, so I assume we need to. And there's a couple underneath. And again, they're well inside. In fact, that screwdriver's not even long enough, so I have to go in a bit of an angle, but that should undo them okay. So as usual, these things are a little tricky to get into. Sometimes there's screws in the battery compartment. Doesn't look like we've got any there. Fortunately, there's no corrosion in there, so that's good. All right, so we'll take these ones out of this here that are marked CD, and we may be able to remove the CD section separately. That would be nice. Most of these things aren't designed to be got into very easily, which makes them very awkward to do even simple jobs like replace a belt. No, that still seems securely attached, so we'll take these bottom ones out now. And then I assume the whole case will split in half. Give us a good look at what's going on. Okay, now unless they've hidden screws somewhere, that should be all we need to do to separate it. And it looks like it's going to come in half. I was wondering if the front came off separately. Looks like half of the works come off with the front and half stay with the back. Fortunately, we do have plugs, which is good. Some of the cheaper brands don't even have plugs, which makes it very awkward to disassemble. Okay, there's two gone. We also have okay, we don't have plugs on the other ones. Oh, this one does. Plugs out of this top board. And another one over this side. Now I'm trying to make sure I get a good shot of this because I'll be looking at this footage to put these back together. Although normally the plugs are different lengths and they can only go the one way or to the one position. We also have one further back. Oh, that actually is this one. Okay, it's quite dusty inside. Now we have speaker wires and another wire here. I'm not sure what this one is. It goes to the volume control. Goodness, look how dusty that is. Let's get a close-up of that if we can. Lots of dust under there, so there's bound to be dust in that volume control, which is what's causing our crackling. But yeah, that's awful. I'll probably blow this out with the air compressor once I get it a little more accessible. So we should be able to get some spray into there to clean that up. And we have our belts here on our, oh, that drive belt looks awfully loose. So I think we're going to need to replace belts here. At least it hasn't turned into gooey tar, but not to say the other one hasn't. So it looks okay in here. Otherwise, there's no sense taking any of this apart. I just need to clean the laser on the CD, I think, because that was working. But we do need to get into the cassette mechanism and replace the belts. So I think we can leave the speaker wires. The speaker wires don't unplug that I can see. No, they're soldered to the boards at the back. They're soldered to the speaker terminals. We just have this one here that looks like it had a piece of glue on it, and it's just come off, but that one doesn't appear to be plugged in either. Oh, there is a plug way back in there. I'm not going to be able to get that out. Perhaps the best way is to remove that control, and then we can probably get some spray into the volume a little bit better. The knob will have to come off. And there's a knob. What's the other one for? Don't remember. Balance, is it? Okay, there we can see how much dust was in that. So we ought to give that a clean up. Those wires were glued, I think, just to hold them so that there was no strain on the wires. The glue did break away from the board, but I don't think it's hurt the wires at all. Okay, well that gives us a little bit easier access now to the cassette mechanism without straining everything. The speaker wires are fine there. So I'm going to pull this whole mechanism out of here. We have wires looping around under the speaker bracket. Perhaps we'll take the speakers themselves out. Looks like they just screw onto the main housing. And the speaker can hold its own screws there. There we go. That can stay with the rest of it. So we'll do the same with the other side, and we will have completely separated the two halves. Okay, there we go. That part can rest over there for now. Let's get the mech out of here. Probably take the board off it as well. That one will unplug. And we have wires going around to the motor. They're soldered on, that's fine. Aha, we do have a broken belt. There we go. Very thin belt. I'm not sure if I've got one of those. And the other one needs replacing. I'm sure it looks very loose. What's next? I reckon we can probably take the actual motor off. Maybe we'll take the whole mech out of the plastic casing. Okay, well that lift out there now. We might have to open the door. Let's free that up. It's very dirty in there. All right, good chance to give that a clean up. We still have the motor wires, and there's a little switch in there. We can't actually unplug those. I don't really need to take the motor off, I don't think. That's probably enough access, really. We can give it a good clean up. I will blow some compressed air through here, but there's a lot of dust and fibres wrapped around everything. Alright, it's looking better already. But we have to find where that small belt went to and from. There's a little idler up there. Yeah, I think it came from underneath. Is that the capstan? I think it is. So it went from underneath there out to this idler. And from there it could be, looks like the mechanism then could move that idler across to drive this spool for play or fast forward perhaps. Or drives it across that way for a rewind. There we go. So the mechanism looks like it works fine. It just needs the little belt from under the capstan wheel to that little idler. We have the belt to be able to get a size. To be able to put it under there, I have to take this top belt off. And this top one appears to be quite loose. So I reckon we'll replace that one as well. And that just loops around the pulley at the bottom of the motor. It just drops off there. So we should be able to get a size off that one, probably a little bit smaller so it stretches a bit more. So that should be all we need to do to fix that, is replace those two belts. I have rummaged through my selection of belts here. I just once bought a couple of various packs off eBay for only a few dollars each, and it's amazing how many times you find one to do the job. In fact, rarely those packs let me down. So I've got a replacement main belt. It's just slightly smaller. You can see how that one's stretched. And the broken belt, we've got one that's just a whisker smaller when I join it up. It's almost the same. So I think they'll be perfectly fine. So we need to put this one in first. I have taken this mechanism out and given it a good blowout with the air compressor. It's still it's got a little bit of fluff in spots, but I'm sure I've got the most of the fluff off areas that it needs to be removed from. So now we've got to get this one under the capstan, and hopefully it sits in the pulley under there. Got to go past a couple of little bracts. Oh yeah, there's a little thing it's got to lift over. So it drops into the pulley. There we go, that looks better. And we'll stretch it around this idler. And oops, we've gone under the idler. How's that? That looks better. Make sure it's in the groove in the pulley underneath. I think it is. Yep, that's good. And that seems to have a fair bit of torque. It's not slipping. Excellent. So now we can replace the main belt, which is almost the same size, just slightly larger. And getting that up on the pulley might be a bit tricky. Oh, there's a big hair in there. We've got to get rid of that. That's going to tangle around something. Might have been a spider web, perhaps. All right. Dropped in perfectly. And that should just run round the capstan. I think that's the capstan. There we go. Excellent. That was pretty easy to do. Now we really just have to assemble the whole thing. I'm not going to touch anything with regards to lubrication or anything. There seems to be still a bit of grease on the plastic gears. Remember, it's probably not super old, this thing, so the grease wouldn't have dried out. Not like if it was 30 or 40 years old, you'd probably want to give it a wash and re-grease it. You don't want excess grease getting in places where it shouldn't, so I'm just going to leave that well alone. I think it'll be fine. Okay, what else do we have to do with this section? Nothing really, just put it all back together. The other issues we had was the volume on the main thing there. It's just out of shot. We'll get to that when we start assembling the two halves together. And also the CD, I think we've just got to clean the laser from up on top. All right, I have to remember how it all goes, making sure all the wiring is not getting caught up or jammed under things, and make sure it goes around the right spots. And we may have to open the door again to get this to drop in. I just got to make sure all the little buttons line up in the right spot. That goes in there. There we go. That's looks like it's home. Let's just make sure the door closes. Yep, very good. Still a bit dirty around there. I didn't really heat that part with the air compressor. Might just push a rag and a cotton bud around there to clean the dust. But the mechanism's pretty good. I'm happy with that. All right, let's put some screws back in. All right, with the mechanism screwed in, and I'm comfortable that all the buttons work. It's easier to check them now than to check it when it's all together and find out one of them doesn't connect properly or something's in the wrong place. So now we can put this board back on. So that's the record switch there. That all works fine. We don't have any wires jammed where they shouldn't be. We can plug these ones back in. That's too long for there. That must go off the other board. That one goes there. So they do make them different lengths so that you can't plug the wrong one in the wrong spot most of the time. So these must go onto the other board, and there must be wires come down onto here. So next we can bring the two halves together and put the speakers back in. That's it. And the speaker here is still holding our screws. Thank you very much. Probably not a good practice to do that, because if one of them drops into the speaker, it's going to damage the paper. You're probably better having a tray with different compartments to keep all the respective screws in. And now the other side speaker. Got to locate in a couple of channels in the casing. Right, with both speakers in, we now have to put this volume control back. So we kind of got to start getting it to fall together. We have to plug some more of the wiring loom back in as well, and make sure the speaker wires don't get jammed up. Now we might put some spray on this volume control before we go any further, and I'm using a Deoxit, the Fader F5 one, which is better for controls with carbon tracks. So we should be able to get some in there, I think. Yeah, through this side. So I'll give it a good drink and work it back and forward. Yeah, it goes right in there easily. Oh, it's even freed it up. So that should stop any crackle. Once we get it back together, I'll work it back and forward a bit more. So now we can reassemble this in here. I guess, what was this one? The balance. No, that was the bass boost. It was just a switch. I think that will be okay. Alright, now that went in there, and we've got a screw to mount that little board. Okay, that's mounted there. We can probably put this back on. And the switch. Okay, they're good. Right, we need to plug some wiring back in and then assemble the case. So this was the one to go down onto that board there. And this one went up onto that board. What went into that one? Maybe there was no wiring into that one. I don't have any wires left over. Oh yes we do. Here's one. Okay, so everything's plugged back on the front board. We need to get these two plugs into the main board up here. Okay, a little awkward this one. We're running out of room to get our hands in. That's it. Finger through the side there did the job. Right, everything should be plugged back in. Don't think we have any more wiring hanging around that isn't plugged in. We just have to make sure our speaker wire doesn't get caught in the case. And we can pull that under the board, will be safer. You need to stay away from the cassette mechanism. And same with the speaker wire on this side. Seems to be okay. Alright, so we're pretty much ready to slip together, I think, with a bit of a wobble. Not going to force anything. The bottom seems to have actually joined up already. Oh, look at that. It's coming together nicely. Now, we didn't have to worry about any opening latch for the CD because that's just a manual lift. Sometimes you've got to watch those latches and things need to line up. But that's all back together. Alright, I'll put the case screws in. We didn't actually take the CD out, so maybe I didn't need to do those ones. That's alright, they're still lined up. Alright, we'll put all the screws back in and we can give it a test. Okay, it's all back together. I haven't cleaned it up, but we need to see if it works properly first. So it's plugged into my appliance tester. Let's give it some power. Oh, the radio's on straight away. Now, no crackling other than the hiss. Let's turn the ring light off. That's a bit better. Right, so we had the FM hiss. Let's see if we can tune in a station. I mean, the radio was working okay anyway, but I'm pleased that the volume isn't crackly. Okay, that's working fine. There's still interference in the shed and the reception's not very good here.
But I've got a string quiz for her.
But that's working. What was that, the bass boost? Yeah, it seems to do something. Alright, so the radio's good. The volume's fixed. Let's go to CD. Okay, we can open our door. I didn't actually clean the laser lens. I should do that now. Just a little IPA on a cotton bud or Q-tip. Hopefully the dust hasn't got any further into it, but usually it's just on the top of the lens. And it did play earlier, it just took a little while to sense it. Now this time we've got Rock Chicks. We won't be able to play very much, but let's see if it works. It should pick up how many tracks. I can hear it spinning up. 20 tracks, that's promising. Let's push play. Playing track 1. I won't be able to play much of it, but we just want to make sure it works and sounds okay. Pause. Beautiful. I'm not sure how the skip or search works. Will it skip to the next track? Or is it just like a fast forward through the disc? Yeah, it goes fast through the song, so I don't think you can actually skip to the next song. Or at least if you do, I don't know how to do it. You could probably program, I'm not sure. Anyway, it seems to work fine, and it read the disc beautifully, so that's good. Laser must have just been a bit dirty. Now, the big test is the cassette. Let's open that up. Have I got a cassette to try it? Well, let's first see if these spools, or at least they drive the spool in the cassette. That was probably inaccurate to call them spools. Let's see if they move. There we go, the play's working. Beautiful, it feels like it's got plenty of torque. Fast forward, beautiful. Or is that rewind? That's rewind. Fast forward should be this one again. Fantastic. Likes the new belts. Let's put a tape in there and see what it sounds like. I didn't actually clean the head or anything either, so I might just give that a bit of a wipe with IPA. And the capstan and the pinch roller. I blew all the dust out of it, but I didn't actually wipe these off. It looks like they're reasonably clean. Alright, that'll do. Really quick clean. Okay, let's see if the cassette works. Play. Oh, hang on, we have to switch it to tape, don't we? We're still on CD. There we go, tape. I walk the line. Johnny Cash. Fast forward a bit. Oh, excellent, sounds fantastic. All right, beauty. I can't play that for very long either, unfortunately. I would say we're fixed this. Well, the proof is in the pudding. It all works. So I just need to give it a good wipe over and a clean up, and it can go into the shop. Okay, there we go. I've been playing a little bit of Johnny Cash while I've been cleaning it up. Cleaned up pretty good, didn't it? Really? It was very kind of not sticky, but almost like a nicotine stain on top. So maybe it did time in the kitchen, maybe it was a bit of kitchen grime, maybe it was nicotine, but it seemed to be mainly on the top. So it cleaned up okay. It's still got a few little scratches and everything, but there's nothing broken. Cosmetically it's good, and mechanically and electronically now it's good as well. So little scratch on the top there. Actually it might be a burn. But anyway, it's quite a saleable piece. Looks a bit like a blowfly. Probably, I think, early 2000s maybe, might be about 20, or a bit over 20 years old perhaps. But still, it's CD, it's cassette, it's radio, AM, FM, it works. No Bluetooth, nothing like that. It's too old for that. But yeah, pretty happy with that. We'll take that to the shop. I think I'll try $30 on it because I get asked for these all the time, and I can say it's been fully serviced. So there we go, guys, saved from the scrap heap. It will live another day, hopefully another year, hopefully longer still. It's quite functional, it's usable, and cassettes are becoming a bit popular again. People come in the shop all the time saying, do you have an old cassette player? So there we go, now I do. I've saved it from Ewaste. Remember, this came from the charity shop, so it was destined for Ewaste. Not only have we saved it, we've now repaired it and fully serviced it, so it's ready to go. Thanks for watching, guys. I enjoyed doing these little tinkering jobs in the shed in the evening, and I get a video for you guys as well, which is good. I think it's good. Hopefully you guys do too. Catch you next time. Bye for now.